Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything bad about just creating pretty art or trying out all the art mediums and techniques you want to try and making whatever you want to make. Jumping from one topic to another, not necessarily having a deeper meaning or story behind the art. That's what I've been doing for a long time. And if what you're doing is working for you, keep doing it. But I started craving something else. This topic of whether it's a good idea to pick an art niche or not has been on my mind for months at this point, and here are some of my thoughts for and against it. I kept hearing there needs to be some deeper meaning, some hidden message behind it, whether it's visual art or music or creating videos. But I just couldn't come up with what that was for me. It might come eventually just by creating more art and figuring it out that way, or it might come to you from a certain life experience. So I don't think you need to force it if there isn't any deeper meaning that comes to you naturally. Maybe it will come someday or form slowly over time. And maybe it's a bad experience, a life struggle, but it eventually leads to something good. But why might you want to pick an art niche? Besides appealing to a certain group of people, customers or followers, and being more recognizable if you're selling your art or posting it online, sticking to a niche, a medium, a technique or style allows you to spend more time perfecting it. I've had my issues with painting on canvas, and since I decided that I'll make this series of acrylic paintings, some of it on canvas, I started thinking of and testing ways to solve those issues I had with painting on canvas, like smoothing out canvas texture or how to scan bigger paintings that don't fit into my scanner, without having to worry about switching to the next medium or process or style or technique for the next YouTube video or the next project if I don't want to. And then coming back to the same medium maybe weeks or months later, and in some cases having forgotten what I previously learned. It feels surprisingly good to immerse yourself into researching and learning and improving in one topic, whether it's the theme of the art or the medium and technique you chose, without having this thought in the back of your mind of having to come up with something completely different for next week or next project. And I can still find other interesting topics and see other type of art I like without the need of having to do it myself. If it feels exhausting to make the switch in my brain to do another type of project, I don't need to. I can just keep doing what I'm doing. And once I feel like I'm done with that series, I'll see what I want to pivot to next. Rather than jumping from one artwork to another, to make a longer series of related artworks or one bigger project that you can make piece by piece, and getting to focus and develop and improve in that one thing, instead of anytime you feel like you learned something, having to rip yourself out of it and go work on something else. Giving yourself restrictions to work within might actually boost your creativity. Having some limitations and coming up with ideas within those limitations and not being paralyzed by all the choices. I'm having a kind of a year of make-do, and I want to use some art supplies I have in my closet untouched, and I've gone towards semi-realistic portrait painting, but I have some abstract painting supplies to use, so I'm trying to think of ways to combine them, maybe abstract backgrounds for the paintings with a cohesive color scheme to combine the styles. It's actually a kind of relief to not have to do every idea you get and instead concentrate on a few series or topics or mediums and styles and get to explore them further and get better at them, rather than go from one medium and topic to another to another to another, and not have the time to research the topic fully and learn the medium properly or develop a style. We sometimes feel like we want to try everything, but actually exploring something further could be more rewarding over time and lead to more sales on your art too if you're selling your art. It's also freeing to, instead of looking outward for ideas, constantly being on the lookout for new ideas on social media, to go inward for ideas and build upon old artworks and go deeper into a topic in new art. It can actually be really inspiring when you don't have to drag yourself out of one world and then enter another. There are just way too many ideas to do, so narrowing down actually helps. And I can have more than one theme going on at once, but it's a few at a time rather than 20 different ones at the same time. To pick a niche, I was thinking about what type of art I want to make and what topics interest me. And I chose to go deeper into painting portraits of women from Finnish mythology, specifically Kalevala. That still leaves questions like how literal I want to be with things like hair and costumes, because Kalevala is supposed to be set in the Iron Age, and how much I want to censor the stories. With Kalevala, there are lots of opportunities to talk about serious topics like abuse, racism, misogyny, generational trauma, and narcissism if I want to go there. And then there's definitely a funny side as well if I want to go in that direction. But I think this just goes to show that going in deeper with a topic doesn't necessarily limit your creativity, but it might actually open new ideas and directions you can go. I'm not going to really get into cultural appropriation in this video, but I will say that it's maybe unconsciously part of the reason I started looking into Finnish mythology instead of other mythologies. Although you can argue about whether Kalevala is actually Finnish or not, but I might get into that more as that painting series goes on. But then I started second-guessing myself as some doubts started creeping in. I realized that rather than picking an art niche that was selling the best for me or would do well in YouTube videos, I picked something that would probably stay interesting and challenging for me, and something that there isn't as much competition in, but with a smaller potential audience and a new niche I hadn't been selling before. I also found that working on a bigger piece or a longer project made my brain want to take a break by doing something faster and easier in between. So I do feel like I need to work on smaller pieces in between. My compromise for now is to work more in series. I'm not ready to lock down on one art niche or art style or medium. Whatever I would choose now might not be the right one. I need to find one that I like making, that I can do well, and that sells. So I'm not choosing one, but I'm choosing a few and allowing myself to concentrate on those to get better at them. But I also want to say that if you feel happier switching up the type of art you make or the medium or both, then keep doing that. I definitely have times when I just do fast and fun paintings I enjoy making without any real planning or reason or cohesion behind them, because just making the art makes me feel better. I've also been buying less art supplies and accepting them less as gifts this year and last year, which is connected to this feeling that I don't want to go wider in the types of art I make anymore, but rather go deeper into fewer types of art. But I talk about the art supply dilemma more in this video, so see you there and thanks for watching.